Hey buddy, it's Peter, and this is a 2024 Kawasaki Teryx KRX4 1000 SE. This is essentially the base model version of this vehicle, but it is in no ways base model, and it is probably the version that I would buy myself. We've reviewed the 2023 model when this entire concept first came out, but now that we're in the 2024 model, we get to show you this different version, and again, this has so much of what the higher level trim has, but it doesn't have things like the electronically adjustable suspension, doesn't have things like the same digital dash type functions, and to me, that makes it more pleasing to probably a little wider variety of off-roaders out there, and it's probably the one you're gonna buy because instead of spending some of the money on some of those electronics, you have that money saved for some accessories, and this thing can be accessorized up like crazy. So we're filming here at Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals, Jim Gilbert's Power Sports. This is the #1 volume Kawasaki dealer in the country. They have everything you can imagine for Kawasaki's. They're absolutely incredible here. And if you want to know more about this vehicle, make sure you swing by and check out them. There's a link in the description, but also if you're not in the area, make sure you leave this video a like, give it a positive comment, those kind of things. Let them know you appreciate us having full access because they give me complete access to their entire product line. And if you have questions, I can come back to these vehicles again and again to make sure that you get the answers that you need, and we create a video database of information. So let's get going with this review. So we gotta start up front with this unit. First of all, this thing just looks super aggressive, and it's got the mechanicals to back up its look. Sometimes things look kind of aggressive, but they're not really. So we're gonna dig into some of the mechanicals as we go through, but just check out the face here. You've got the worn winch right up top, right out the front there. Again, you can add accessories for protection up here, but right now, as it is, the furthest part forward is the front of these wheels. These are 31 inch by 10 inch, and what's interesting is a lot of these side-by-sides have different size front and rear wheels, but because of the balance of this unit, we're going to talk a lot about balance of this unit. Because of the balance, you can have the same size tires front and rear, which means if you want to take a spare with you as an accessory, you just take a single spare. It's good for whatever wheel you need. You're good to go. Out front as well, here you can see a lot of that weight is centralized. Really long A-arms here. They are sort of tilted down here, so you've got good ground clearance here through there, and it kind of comes down into that area there. And then we should talk about the lighting. Again, a lot of people like to accessorize these up with extra lighting, but you'll see here as we turn the lights on, you've got full LED lighting here. So first of all, just the daytime running lights, maybe not perfect, the view, you may not have the perfect view to see them right there, but you can turn on your headlights, which have a nice sharp cutoff, and your high beams, and really get good quality lighting. So we're gonna bring you back here, show you that headlights again, and then we're gonna work our way through the suspension and start talking about that as we work our way back through, talk about engine and practicality, and jump our way inside and show you the dash as well. So here's a closer look at the daytime running lights here. We're gonna swipe over now to the Jim Gilbert's logos that are right over there. Again, Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals, Jim Gilbert's Power Sports is the #1 volume Kawasaki dealer in the country. So as we turn on the headlights here, you can see that really sharp automotive-like cutoff. So what that does is gives you a really bright and consistent light across the trail. Now, of course, as you put your high beams on, it's going to be a little bit sort of up in there, and you can sort of see there's some variance in light up and down. But what's really cool is, again, that automotive lighting there. So again, really consistent lighting, and that white color, which doesn't show up perfectly on camera, but that white color is a lot closer to daylighting color, and that allows you to determine if what you're looking at is a rock or a raccoon or a rabbit, something that's gonna be stable or something that's gonna move out in front of your trail. So great lighting from the start, and of course you can accessorize it up. Let's check out suspension now. So taking a look at the suspension here, there's a few little pieces and parts, even not related to the suspension, that I want to show you here. You'll notice that, almost every side-by-side has a steel braided line for the brake lines, but you don't see it here, and that's because it's tucked right in behind there. A lot of those steel braided lines are just kind of run wherever they need to, including in front of these A-arms, and that can put them up for abuse that you don't need to put them through. Kawasaki knows what they're doing, they put them behind. And then you've got these massive shocks up front with the piggyback reservoirs. So let's see if we can give you a little bit better angle to show you how they work and how adjustable they are, because although they're not adjustable through electronically adjustments, you do have the ability to adjust them by hand. So one of the things that's really tough to show is just the general size of everything, and that's what you see when you see this thing in person. It not only looks beefy, but it performs beefy, and I can show you that by seeing my whole hand here. My fingers are just at the top of that piggyback shock, so you can see that piggyback shock is absolutely massive. At the very top, there are adjustments. They're hard to film because of the angle, and frankly, they look like they're a little hard to reach, but there's some settings up there you can adjust that damping to really dial it in for comfort, dial it in for performance, dial it in for whatever you want to do, and that's available in all four corners. So you can, again, see the size of this. It's, a very large shock, and it has, of course, all the travel you would need. So right off the bat, you know you're getting performance. Now, one of the benefits of these piggyback shocks, these Fox performance shocks, is that they allow you to take the heat out of that shock. And that means that it's gonna have consistent performance as it's bouncing up and down the trail, moving up and down quite a bit. You're taking all of that heat into here, which allows you to have really consistent performance in your shock. Really nice setup there. You've got preload adjustment as well. Let's move to the rear shocks as well. So taking a look at the rear here, again, absolutely massive piggyback shocks, easier to reach adjustment up the top there, tons of adjustment down this area for preload all the way down to here, and then that absolutely massive shock that runs down the rear. So the couple things are different about this suspension. First of all, you have so much travel, both up and down, and then we'll show you the design of it as well. You've got the A-arms down here that are also kinked at the rear. Not everybody does that on the rear, so you've got that sort of that kink up area to give you extra ground clearance. But let's take a look at the side, and you can really see one of the big advantages to allow you to take, rough terrain at high speeds on this type of unit. So in addition to the massive shock right there, you have this arm right here, which extends all the way out to its pivot point all the way up here. Now, a lot of units would keep it nice and short just for, packaging reasons, for cost reasons, for, a whole bunch of reasons. But Kawasaki goes all out, having the pivot point all the way up here, which allows you to have all the strength you need to have virtually vertical travel with your wheel, with a suspension that can really take that travel. And because it's such a big shock, all of the little bumps, it can work very easily. Even larger bumps feel like little bumps to the suspension, which allows it to really handle that performance. So if you're gonna have suspension travel and great wheels and tires that take you deep into ruts, deep into holes, deep into other things, you also need to make sure that you don't run into trouble, and that's why your air intake is up here. So I'm about 6 feet tall, and this is, face height to me. So basically, if I was standing in a mud hole up to here, it would be the same as this thing into a mud hole. It's not gonna suck air or anything into its engine, or water into its engine from down there. You can really take this anywhere you would think about going. You can see how high this is removed. The other nice thing is with the extended wheelbase of this, the actual driver's environment is a little bit quieter. All your powertrain is back further, a little bit further away from your customer or your passengers. And what that means is that you don't have quite as much noise. It doesn't feel like you're sitting on the engine because you're not. It's all out behind you. Taking a look at the back of this unit, you've got some LED lights here. We are filming right now in a wider angle field, so it might skew it a little tiny bit at the very, very edges here. But what you see here is a nice, good-sized cargo area. I like that this doesn't have a tailgate. To me, this is designed as a sport machine. It's got the tie down, so if you want to put a cooler or anything else in there, a tire, all kinds of things, it's designed to sort of fit all the things. That's why it's kind of rounded in that area. We'll zoom into a sort of more standard angle. You can see that sort of rounded shape there. You could throw a tire in there. And then again, you've got some nice little drain holes here. First of all, you've got the ability to have sort of this stepped area here, which will hold things in, but it is sort of open to this section here, and that allows any water or mud that gets in there to drain right out. Again, no tailgate to clog any of that stuff up. It's all free to clear out. And to me, that just makes it more along the lines of what you're gonna be doing with this. This is a play machine. Now, as a play machine, can it do some work? Well, it doesn't come with a factory hitch, but I do see, if we zoom right in from the top here, 2 extra holes down there. You may be able to add accessories like that down the line, so that is an option. But again, this is designed as a play machine first, and again, you can see those really long arms. Let's go wide angle again for a second here. That sort of makes them look smaller, but really long arms there, very centralized weight. That's all about making this thing handle great. So this is gonna be a great handling unit, but let's talk about passenger comfort and driver features. Let's do that right now. So one of the big benefits of these extended wheelbase models is rear seat passenger comfort. First of all, you've got this door that opens here, and one thing I should point out, it has a handle on the outside, which not all of them do. It also has a handle on the inside, and the door is much more automotive quality in feeling. It's got a little bit of an armrest there. It's got a little bit of thickness to it. It's not just a chintzy nothing thing. You've got a little handhold here to pull yourself up and in. I have a little seat cover on this just because this has been sitting outside and I don't want to get wet. If you see that closed up like this, you're buried nice and deep, which gives you that sort of feeling of being enclosed, but you can still see everywhere. So you have theater style seating, which means I'm a little bit taller than the front driver, tons and tons of headroom, and I'm in a proper bucket seat, not a bench seat. You've got a handle in front of you here, which you can hold. I don't know if you can see that from the angle you're on there, but there is a nice handle across there, and overall your comfort is very good. A lot of the time when the powertrain kind of comes into the rear seat area, your rear seat has to sit, you have to sit sideways in some of these units to have sort of that clearance for a powertrain tunnel. Right here you are full comfort, whether you're 6 feet tall like myself. I've got, this much room between my knees and the driver's seat. Of course, driver's seat's adjustable here. The back angle is good. This is a very comfortable unit to go all day with 4 people. So as we approach the driver's area, you're going to have a few things worth noting, and it's just little design details. We mentioned that these doors are kind of high to my shoulder back here, but you can see what they do in the driver's area. There's a significant drop down, so a drop down there, and that allows the driver to have a really good view. If you can look at that headrest right down there, you have a good view from the headrest down to the front wheel. So you can really see where you're placing this on the trail, in the mud hole, whatever you want. So just simple design details that show that they're thinking about ergonomics the whole way through. So again, good driver's seating space here. Again, because you have extended wheelbase, you've got a little bit more room. You're still sitting tall, so your feet sit fairly square. You would think it could be stretched out, but they're still fairly square, fairly upright position. And again, because this is quote unquote the base model version, you have the ability to add a stereo in the future. You've still got those door handles there. You can see the frames through the door all the way through, which again, gives these doors a really solid feeling compared to other units. Now, let's jump in for a second. Let's go wide angle as we sit on the seat over here. We're going to turn that key on right there, if you can see it there. So just turn it to the on position right now. Over here, this is, again, a different dash than the top line version, but you still have everything you need. So let's just kind of go fully zoomed in here. You've got your tachometer on the left. It's going to show you, the revs that you're at. Gear indicator there, of course. And then below that, you've got the CVT temperature down there. So you've got all your temperature gauge. Over to the right, clock in the middle, temperature gauge. Your power level, so it's currently on full power. You can drop it to low power as well. You've got, of course, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and like a four-wheel drive lock. We'll show you that control in a second here. 12.5 volts, right? 12.4 volts right now. That's because I'm doing things I shouldn't be doing and not running it while I have the dash going. And then you've got your speedometer right there. Very clear, very easy to read, very large. Even though I'm zoomed in, it's still very legible. Your warning lights up top. So pretty simple stuff, gives you everything you need. Now, if you want to add accessories in here, you've got space to do that. Again, you can, in that top end version, you've got all sorts of electronic controls that you can put in here. The other thing I like here is this simple piece right up here. A lot of these doors would flop down on your gear, but this one's got a nice gasket in there, so I can't say it's going to be fully waterproof, but you can see this has been sitting outside, and other than my hands, which have dripped some water in there, there's no water in there because of that extra gasket. So that's going to keep some of your things like your phone and that kind of stuff nice and protected. As we come down here, you can see what we've got for control. So let's just zoom right in again, just because it's a little hard to see. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and the lock button. So a simple knob there that turns everything you need. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. Electronically, you can hear it engaging. And again, some colored lights there on that system there. So you can right away tell at a glance, because this isn't ideal, you can tell at a glance, hey, if it's green, you're in four-wheel drive, so that's good to know. And then you've got your low and full power, so that's what that button is, your winch right there. And then of course, you've got lots of ability to add extra accessories if you want to. A little bit of space down here for cup holders if you want to take some water bottles in there. Typical stuff down there, high, low, neutral, and reverse, and you do have a handbrake all the way back here. Taking a look at your passenger area, you do have sort of that adjustable handle. Let's just go fully wide angle again. Oops, went the wrong way there. Fully wide angle there, so you do have that passenger handle there, which you can pull the pin here and move it closer and further. So they've got a really good grab handle to hold on to. So everybody in the unit here has something to hold on to. In the rear passengers, if we zoom all the way back here, you can see kind of between the seats, there's that bar that runs all the way across, right behind the seats as well, just in the center of your screen, that black bar. That is something for the rear passengers to hold on to, and then you've got something for the front passengers to hold on to, and this, of course, for the front, has that nice rubber grip there as well. You do have a 12-volt port up here in the dash, so you've got the ability to add some accessories. And then one of the things I really like about this is, like I said, the overall driving rider's position. You feel a little bit more reclined than in some of them that you're forced to sit really upright. So that, to me, makes it a little bit more comfortable, and you've got a nice, solid, small steering wheel. Overall visibility is really, very good as well, and you can flip this roof as well. You've got that control there to flip that roof there to give you some extra light. But overall, very, very good driver's environment here. So let's talk about who this unit is for. Now, obviously, you're gonna want this because you wanna take 4 passengers out on the trail, and this thing does that really, really well. But there's other options out there that can do that. So what makes this one unique? Well, first of all, that extended wheelbase really does offer you an extra bit of space and an extra bit of peace, putting the engine a little further from the driver, a little out of the way of some of the passengers, and you can just have better conversations in there. And to me, that's what it's about. If you're gonna get out with people, you wanna be able to converse with them. You wanna be able to point something out, laugh, and hear hear somebody laughing, those kinds of things. But the other thing about this is it really allows you to go deep into things that you probably couldn't get into in many other units. The level of suspension travel that just truly doesn't show on camera, it's the kind of thing you have to see in person to see the size of these suspension components compared to other competitive units. This thing is really all about exploding down through the dunes, exploding down through all kinds of things. But here in New Brunswick, we have mostly a trail system. And what I love about this is you can dive it into those deep mud holes, continue to pull on through. If you wanted to adjust it with extra electrically adjustable suspension, you could step up and do that. But if not, you can still adjust your suspension, individual corners, getting in there, getting a little bit dirty yourself, and customize that ride the way you want to. But you're really not going to have any issues getting stuck or anything like that because this thing's got the technology to pull you through. You've got the winch on the front, which is something you're going to need on something of this size. If you ever get a little bit too aggressive, you know, maybe your eyes take on more than maybe your driving skill can. You've got the winch which can pull you out of here, and you've got your friends with you to help you out and do that kind of stuff. This is an absolute blast. This is made for fun over work, and when you start designing things to not be a compromised machine, to make it fun first and work sort of lower down the list, you end up with something that is an absolute blast, and that's what this is. So there you go. This is the 2024 version. We're going to cover all of the Kawasaki's, the 2024s on this channel as they come in. If you have questions, again, I'm filming here at Jim Gilbert's Power Sports, Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals. This is the #1 volume Kawasaki dealer in the country, known as Canada's huggable car dealer. Absolutely amazing staff that truly take care of you, and a great place to buy. There's a reason they're #1. So anyways, you can check them out in the link in the description. And if you want to see more videos on Kawasaki stuff, let me know in the comments the kinds of things you want to see, and give us a like, that kind of thing. Make sure you subscribe because, again, we're covering everything from 2024 Kawasaki's lineup right here on this channel. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk to you in the next one.